Okay, so fantastic. So here we are, so RD Labs AMA with Sovana today. So actually really excited to know more about obviously the project that you're building. So we have one of the founders here, Thug29, basically going to give us more information. So I think we're going to crack on. Can you hear us there, Thug?
Yeah, thanks for having us today, Ken, and the RD community. Really appreciate the time you guys have set aside for me to demonstrate what Sovana is.
No, absolutely amazing. I actually said before that I know you're not going to give yourself this term, but I truly believe that you're becoming one of the leading players within the whole NFT DAO, the whole movement. A lot of people still don't know about what you're doing in terms of Sovana, and also obviously who you are. So I think really today is really going to kind of like open up that can of worms, let's just say, so it can give a deep dive into yourself, your background, and also really in-depth information in terms of what you're doing at Sovana and why you believe this is going to really cause a bit of a stir in a good way in this space. So I think we'll just crack on from there. Just give us kind of like a more summary just in terms of who you are, Thug29, as much as you can, right? Your background and how you got into this space.
Awesome. Yep. Thanks, Ken. So I got into Bitcoin in 2016, and then went up to the whole ICO craze in 2017, made some life-changing money, left my job as an accountant at that time, and really got into, crypto investing and trading. And up until, 2018, 2019, that's when everyone got wrecked. Myself as well. And after that, I joined a prop trading firm, and started trading professionally. So the firm funds me money, and we profit share. And been trading for over a year and a half now. And yeah, it really opened up my eyes to what trading is, and how the pros do it. And then really dove deep into the NFT space after Axie Infinities. So I was an early Axie Infinity player, had heaps of Axies, and like if you guys were into it, I was one of the only breeders for the bugs with the antennas, and didn't really know, thought it was just a big bubble like 2017, and then saw the whole boom in NFTs, and then BAYCs and CryptoPunks, and it just clicked all of a sudden. Really saw the potential in NFTs, saw how communities formed within NFTs, and how people on the internet started using NFTs as their identity on the internet, and started forming DAOs, and started organizing themselves among each other, and started building projects together. And yeah, I just thought that was amazing. And I've never seen anything like that before. So I started investing in NFTs myself, got into, the Solana monkey business, the thugs and all that. Then didn't really quite understand it completely. Everyone was still figuring it out at that time. And then what really triggered me to build Sovana was that first I started noticing that there were a lot of people out there, bad actors, just making these NFTs, and people are buying into them as thinking that they're going to be a part of a community. But these bad actors started taking advantage of them, taking advantage of communities, and just destroying. And I felt like it was like a wager, like a war, a declaration of war against me. Like I just felt like, how could you do that to these 20,000 people that supported you? How could you even do that? And then I noticed a lot of projects still had the Web 2 thinking. There were still closed loop ecosystems where only their NFTs, only their tokens benefit in their own closed ecosystem. And that's when it really that was the huge aha moment for me to create Sovana, to include every single NFT and to give back to the community as much as I can.
I think you really touched on some important points there, just in terms of how you got into this space and that transition from, trading for prop aspect, propriety, and then also really moving into the whole NFT space. So I'd be interested to know, because obviously from the outset you mentioned that you foresaw this aspect where it wasn't really a community, right? It was kind of like those that essentially were building out these projects took full advantage. And then you saw that the ones that were holding the bags are the ones that were really getting in late, right? And then you're having this mindset of how you could be able to, utilize those hard experiences that you had to formulate a plan and to be able to build something that you didn't see. And it quite resonates to what we've actually done at RD Labs as well, identifying certain rugs and issues that occur in a space and really build this safe space, quote unquote, community that we can really provide this value and content. So what made you kind of transition from just kind of like trading to really getting involved in the NFT space? And for those that don't understand, probably we're going to have some people that don't really know, maybe aware of NFT, but don't really know the whole ins and outs. Just give us a kind of like a synopsis, in terms of NFT and how it works and so on and so forth. And why you really don't focus on the Solana ecosystem, as you just mentioned.
Yeah. So I don't consider myself an expert, but these are my observations and what I think about the NFT space. So what made me transition out of trading was pretty much, being a trader, it was all about profits and you're pretty much just like sucking out of the system, right? And you're fending for yourself, and it's a very lonely journey. And what I saw in NFTs was literally nothing I've seen before with tokens. People are part of the community, the Bitcoin community, for example. They believe in decentralization. They believe in, sound money. And this kind of got lost in the ways in the 2017 and up to, all the tokens and the meme coins and Binance Smart Chain and everything. But when NFTs came, it was purely about the art and purely about the community. And there wasn't anything else. There wasn't, Ponzi-nomics. There wasn't any pump and dumps going on. It was just very pure. And every community stands on their own thing, and every NFT is composable. Anyone can build a product for, the CryptoPunks. Anyone can integrate them, and the value, like the reason why people create, give value to CryptoPunks is purely because of the strength of the community. So, it's power given back to the community. And for Solana, same reason why we see a lot of people building on Binance Smart Chain, pretty much because Ethereum was pricing everyone out. The gas fees were too expensive. And, I didn't even consider building a project, or I couldn't be bothered paying the gas fees anymore. The experience was just horrible. Trying to, bring someone into the space for the first time, trying to convince them that, it's worth it to pay a $50 transaction fee to transact on Ethereum. That was a hard sell for me. And I felt like that was, really the hurdle for the whole crypto community. And then Binance Smart Chain came along. And that was great. You started seeing, people experimenting with stuff, people starting to build things that, they wanted to build on Ethereum otherwise. But then what really got me into Solana was the community at the end. And pretty much the way I see Solana is that it's built on Rust, and the community is something else. In a sense that, everyone who builds in Sovana, on Solana, the projects and everything feels a bit more different. It's less copy and pasting. Solana is not completely decentralized, but it's like the sweet spot between Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain, where it's not overly centralized like Binance Smart Chain, but it's not crazily decentralized like Ethereum. And I think Solana will have the moat for layer 1 blockchain in the years to come.
No, you picked on some very important points, and I think I more or less agree with you, especially from the Solana ecosystem, just in terms of, I think first and foremost, the code base, right? Because I think they're quite well inclined regarding those that have an understanding of C++ code. Immediately it gravitates to those that don't really want to learn from the solidity aspect. And then when you take a look at the throughput aspect, the TPS of 50,000, I know they're working towards that at the moment. And then also that kind of like the transaction fees are more or less nominal, right? So it kind of like gives opportunities, a lower barrier of entry for those that really want to get involved. And I think, as you mentioned, it's kind of like built quite a unique and interesting community. And that's where, as you just mentioned, thriving upon. So talking about that aspect regarding Solana, and you've essentially focused on building Sovana in that ecosystem, is that correct? So just tell us more about Sovana, the USP, what you're trying to do with this specific interesting project.
Yep. So in a nutshell, Sovana is a 2D scrolling platform, a social platform, or you could call it a metaverse for all NFTs to come in. This means what we're trying to do at Sovana is to provide an alternative for Discord and Twitter, Telegram, and we're trying to create a platform where everyone could put their NFTs in. So your avatar in Sovana is a 1-to-1 reflection of the NFT you hold in your wallet. And in this metaverse, in this Sovana platform, NFTs can fly around. They can chat with each other and conduct trades with each other. And our unique selling point is not only that we have a crazy good art and a social platform for everyone to fly around and show off their NFTs and display what they have in their wallets. Our unique selling point would really be our peer-to-peer trading. So right now there is there's no NFT exchange out there that there's a NFT for NFT trade. And there's no exchanges out there that gives the human interaction, the human experience in trading. It's all just on a website usually, and you're just scrolling through a list of NFTs and picking the ones you like. There's no bartering, there's no negotiation, there's no and there's no interaction in any other way. And with the NFT for NFT trades, we're seeing a lot of exchanges out there charging ridiculous prices for NFT to NFT trades. You don't see, like the leading exchange on Solana right now is like Solana Art, and they charge like a 3% exchange rate. That's just ridiculous, and that's just purely out of greed. We don't see that kind of rates in token exchanges. Like Binance wouldn't charge a 3% fee per transaction. That's just ridiculous, right? And and that's because they are the first mover, and they don't really have any competitors, but competitors are popping up, and prices should drop. So one more reason why we'll be focusing on our NFT to NFT trade would be that users will be able to avoid a bit of the royalties tax, because right now the royalties on NFT exchanges are, for NFTs in general, around like 5%. And doing an NFT for NFT trade, you'll be able to not only exchange with that whole human interaction, but also really save a lot of money.
I think you've covered a lot of that. That's a lot of USP there, I must say. I think first and foremost, finding ways that you can disrupt the current status quo. in terms of how exchanges, DEXs, centralization in terms of fees, right? And then wondering why that isn't replicated within the NFT transactions, right? So immediately bringing down that barrier of entry in terms of like decreasing or literally eradicating the fees. I think that's phenomenal. Then also the aspect of, and I always said to myself, this whole NFT perspective where one could be able to see all of the NFTs that you have in your wallet, but kind of like in a dynamic way, right? And then you can literally then identify which ones for offer and then basically make a bid. And I think that's taking this whole first area of building up the process, so the infrastructure layer, but then really building and evolving upon what we currently see. And that's always, and I like your focus and your mindset, because you're always thinking about the next step, not what's currently being done today, and then just creating an NFT and then having an opportunity for people to mint and then sell, but then really taking another level. How can we be able to provide this value where there's a current demand, right? That you can either offer, whether it's scalability aspect, security aspect, cost, right? But then for me personally, I really believe this whole space is going to be moving to the social perspective, right? Whereby, and I think maybe this is also being supported by what we've gone through over the last couple of years, right? Where people are essentially working remotely, living remotely, you know, in situations where they're communicating, you know, online. So you're building this interest, a hobby aligned in a social environment, and then having the opportunity for them to exchange things, right? Where in this case, NFT. So I think that's quite a phenomenal area. Where are you right now in terms of development of this, you know, peer-to-peer bridge type trading scenario?
Yeah, so we just literally, we're extremely early. And we just literally launched our website on Monday. And in terms of development, we are ready, our art is complete. We are ready to mint. And we're working on some cool NFT dynamics to swap out NFT trades and like really fractionalize your NFTs, but not by tokenizing your NFTs, but by breaking the trades apart. So you know, you could take off the hat of your NFT to swap it for something else, to put on you know, a different helmet on your NFT. And this is a pretty cool way to fractionalize the NFT. And after that, it will be the phase 1 of our project, which we just engaged a firm, a dev house called Clade Ventures. They are based in Australia and Indonesia. It's a team of 6. We have 3 developers, 1 lead, and a project manager, and a indie game developer, and 1 artist. So they will be, we just engaged them, and they will be building out the Sovana NFT profiles. So the ability for you to create a profile on Sovana, enter into Sovana, the first page of Sovana, where your NFT will be a one-of-one reflection in Sovana. So if you own, you know, a Thugbird, you'll be a Thugbird in Sovana. If you own a CryptoPunk, you'll be a CryptoPunk in Sovana. And then the next step of development would be to really push out that peer-to-peer NFT trading, to incentivize, you know, to really give a reason for people to come onto our platform to trade, to make trades. That will be our main focus. And then, you know, we'll be integrating an NFT bridge with Wormhole to bridge NFTs from Ethereum, from Binance Smart Chain, from Matic, all into the Sovana platform. So you'll be able to display those NFTs on Sovana and make trades and, you know, show them off in Sovana. And then after that would be more Web3 NPCs. So we'll be putting aggregator to swap between USDs and Solana and Bitcoin and all the currencies to really make that trading experience seamless. And then after that, we'll be launching DNA tokens. So these are all in the phase one, and the ETA for the development would be in 1 to 2 months from now.
Wow, that's a mouthful in itself, Doug. I must say, you know, with the first plan, let's say iteration within the roadmap, that essentially is a roadmap of most projects, right? So for you to have that within the first step is, if you can execute on this, your team will be absolutely a total game changer. And regarding the art aspect you mentioned, I know, you know, you've got some, you know, well-known, especially Rolf Chopta, who's, you know, absolutely phenomenal, you know, artist in this space. And I've clearly seen the NFT designs that he's done. We'll be having him on obviously very soon for an AMA. I think you've covered an important area where you saw where there's a lot of demand in terms of an infrastructure that's been existed for years regarding Ethereum, and how you can be able to connect that composability aspect, right, via wormhole, to be able to move those NFTs over. So you're kind of like bridging that and having a more attraction where you can get that flow. And I think that's important. You really also touched on this whole movement between this Web 2 to Web 3. I think this is going to be the space where we're now starting to see a lot of interesting interfaces as well. And I think really with the Web 3 kind of like enhances the whole aspect of the characteristics from, you know, trustless, verifiable, you know, permissionless, stateful, all these really important areas which has been lagging behind. And I think by having that scenario would really help in terms of the ease of use, right, from a UI, UX perspective. So it's quite phenomenal in terms of what you're doing. You really covered a lot of areas. How does that work regarding where you stand from a DAO perspective? Is this something you're looking to have within the roadmap? Because we really see by having a community, it's really important that the community can also play a role in making decisions in the growth, the next stages of the project. So where do you see that playing within your project?
Yep, thanks. So Sovanians will be the natives of Sovana. They will be the builders. They will be, you know, the ones that actually govern and own Sovana. And so the Sovanians will govern the Sovana Guild, which owns part of Sovana, and also, this is where it gets interesting, it also owns part of a play to earn guild, which I think is a perfect, it's a very important thing, the play to earn guild, because, you know, just like every country has, you know, a national sport that they play, you know, to really bond the citizens of Sovana together. So, you know, and the national sport of Sovana will be Star Atlas. It'll be, you know, all the play to earn games on Solana. So the national sport of Sovana will be Solana games. And this really will, I think this will really bond the community together and really have something outside of ourselves to talk about. You know, in most communities you see today, all the focus on, you know, the talking is all based on the price action of the coin. What's the NFT price right now? What's the floor price? What, you know, and I think that's not very sustainable, because during a bear market, all of that is gone. You know, your Discord will literally, your community will just be quiet. And, you know, just having this Sovana play to earn guild is it's something that can really bond everyone together, just like how corporations have events and basketball events, you know, sports events, football events. And on top of that, Sovanians will own Sovana, just like how the citizens of a country own part of the country, right? Like how Australians are part of Australia. And we all have aligned interest in building out Australia because we pay our taxes. But in Sovana's case, we all have an aligned interest because we own part of Sovana and we invest it in the vision by buying the NFTs.
Absolutely amazing. And in terms, because obviously we're clearly seeing the aspect of where, you know, it's literally created a new economy regarding this play to earn space. And I also believe now we're seeing this movement towards play and earn, right? So this is immersive environment regarding the play and earn would really be important. About the DAO aspect, how do you foresee this happening? Because I presume you have initial contributors, right? And then you'll then have the part of, let's say, the Savanians that essentially will be the next step, essentially will be able to mint NFTs. So what role or how would that voting structure play in terms of decision-making on development, on the next phase, and so on and so forth?
Yep, thanks. So in the DAO mechanics of it, so we had a seed sale and we raised $250,000 from friends and family, and we literally used that money to buy some Star Atlas ships, you know, in anticipation of really just kickstarting that community of playing games together. And you know, the 50% of the mint funds from Sovana will be put into this guild together along with the seed sale, and the Sovanians will own 70% of the guild, and the seed sales will own 30% of the guild. And pretty much this guild is a DAO, and we're waiting on squads built on Solana, and they are providing the DAO infrastructure for guilds and DAOs. So this means that every single decision made by the guild on what to buy, what to sell, what to borrow, what to lend, will all be determined through votes. So everyone will be able to vote on chain on where the funds go, what we use the funds for. And obviously, you know, to begin with, why we created this seed sale was to really create, because our early investors really buy into the vision of Sovana. So we don't want short-term thinking in the decision-making process in Sovana. So therefore, we want to have a bit more of an influence in the decision-making process to really kickstart the ecosystem, so that, you know, we can create a sustainable guild, a sustainable DAO before giving more power back to the Sovanian holders.
No, that's understandable. That's fair. Because I think sometimes you get to a situation where there's also this, let's say, a dilemma between speed of decision making, but then also ensuring that you have the community involved in the next step, right? So there's always a balance that needs to be done. So it's fully understandable. How would it work regarding the Savanians, regarding the vote? Will it be evenly distributed based on the amount that one would say, like amount for the mint, or will there be like a weightage of some sort?
Yeah, so there will be a weightage initially, and initially only the seed sale can submit proposals to the DAO for the Sovanians to choose from and make decisions from. Obviously, this is not our long-term vision, because I really believe in decentralization, and you know, just to make sure that we get a bit of a DAO stability before we make too much rash decisions and give too much decision making to the community. And yeah, so there will be a weighting, and it will be looking somewhat like a 50-50. So the seed sale investors will be able to vote, have a total weighting of 50%, and the Sovanians will have a weighting of 50%. And yeah, so every decision will be on chain, and we'll go from there.
I think this is one of the advantages, because there'll be no way that you can be able to make decisions on chain, run a treasury using Ethereum. no chance, right? Because of the fees, the gas fees will just absolutely be insane. You cannot really do anything. So I think this is another added advantage, I presume, why you're, with on the Solana ecosystem and getting this done. What would be the next step? Because obviously I presume right now it's off chain, yes? So I presume you're just using standard documentation, Excel sheets and so forth. What is that timeline for you to be able to make the decision for the DAO and then move that on chain?
Yep. So it all, because we're not developing the on-chain infrastructure itself. So right now, we're using Excel sheets, but so Squads on SQUADS is a project that is being built on Solana, and I think they're releasing their DAO infrastructure to the public. So sometime early next month, around the 10th or 11th. And this we'll see what happens then, but so far what their product seems pretty promising, and if it suits, we'll definitely migrate our whole DAO on chain and using their infrastructure. And I also believe that Star Atlas is building a DAO for their play to earn assets as well. So I think users will be able to borrow and lend from the guild, and we can all share resources with each other. And one more thing, yeah, you're completely 100% right that there is no way you could run a DAO on Ethereum. Can you imagine like paying $20-$30 per vote per decision?
It's just insane. There's no chance. Don't get me wrong. I know that they're working on so many aspects regarding, really trying to solve that whole trilemma, aspect, kind of like just thinking about, okay, how can we be able to overcome that? And I know scalability from a layer 2 aspect with so many different areas, optimism, Arbitrum, so on and so forth. But still, if you take a look from the layer 1 aspect, it's really, really troubling, right? So let's see, I know Immutable X, they're basically just launched, right? And I think they're using Starkware. There's some areas there, but still, it's always going to be challenging regarding the gas fees from a layer 1 perspective. So yeah, really, really interesting. I have a point in terms of the sell. So do you have like a timeline of when the public sell will take place? And also number 2, as you're now really starting kind of from the infancy stage and really starting to build, I presume you really don't want people to just storm your Discord just because there's an interest, but you really want people to play a role, right? So any new participant you have, you really want them to really provide value and add. So how do you actually see this playing out in terms of to filter out those that are just there, from a financial aspect, to those that really want to contribute and provide value? And then also going back to number 1 regarding your public sale.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Valid questions. So we are looking to launch our sale towards the mid of next month. But we don't really want to sell until we can show the public and show our community what we have actually built for them. And that will be closer to our MVP launch, where at least after the sale, our users can actually create a profile on Sovana itself. And yeah, we're not in a rush at all to market things. So we're trying to grow our community as organically as possible. There's seriously no point in doing giveaways and running all these schemes and getting our Sovanian NFTs into the wrong hands. That's just gonna be sucking out the money from our ecosystem and really inflating the price of our Sovanians to our potential long-term holders and our core community members. So yeah, what we're really looking for is to get people in that are really interested, and we would love to hear the community's ideas and suggestions. And why limit it to just our team's mind? There's only like 6 of us, and our our brains are limited, but like, you know, compared to 1,000 brains put together, I think the community's thoughts are the building blocks of Sovana.
Most definitely. Talking about community, I'm gonna, if there are any questions in the chat, please feel free to ask any questions. I've actually made you host, Doug. If possible, if you could be able to maybe just pull up your website and just actually just show us, because you have a quite an interesting UI regarding how it may not look specifically like this, but how the exchange would look regarding the P2P, because the NFT movement is really compelling in terms of that idea. So maybe if you can walk us through your website to show us some of these areas, and at that stage, if there are any questions, please feel free to just write it in the chat.
All right, can you guys see this?
I can. If anyone can see, please type in yes in the chat, please.
Yeah. Okay, so this is our homepage. This is an illustration of what the entry of Sovana will look like, and how every single community will have their own personal star base in Sovana. So, you know, if you're a monkey, we would like to create a special monkey island for you in there, and only monkey NFT holders can go in. And, you know, that of course there will be a Sovanian star base, a secret hideout, only exclusive to our community to enter. And in that space, we can do heaps of fun stuff from and this is the illustration of how your NFT avatars will look like in Sovana. So if you have, you know, a thug bird, you'll be flying around as a thug bird, 1-to-1. So, you know, if you have like blue glasses for your thug bird, you'll have blue glasses in Sovana as well. And I think no other project right now is doing this sort of one-of-one reflection and composability of NFTs to really reflect the traits of the NFTs in the platform. So in Sovana, you'll be able to fly around, chat, click on each other's profiles, you know, scroll through their NFTs, maybe chat about them, about their NFTs, request a trade and make an offer, barter, negotiate, and make a deal for those NFTs. And in the Sovana Starbase, as I was mentioning before, we're thinking of having a TV in there to, you know, for people to live stream, create games, you know, host comedy nights, just a whole bunch of fun stuff that you can do in the Starbase. I think this is what would really get the community going, and trying to customize each Starbase to be as unique and as personalized as possible to the NFTs. So we'll be looking at collaborating with the NFTs to and their artists to make their Starbase fit their art style and fit their personality of the community, and maybe work together with them what features they want to add into their Starbase. This is how our NFT to NFT trade window will look like. So you'll be putting NFTs there and trade NFT for NFTs. Yeah, and we're really looking at getting some Ethereum NFTs over into Solana, because, you know, they have really cool art and they have really cool communities there, and we would love for them to join us in Sovana. So some Web3 NPCs, and, you know, this is so early in Sovana that whatever you can imagine, it is just a preview of what's to come. You know, we would like to hear your ideas and how, you know, what type of games, what type of things we should add into Starbases, what would you as a community really want? We want to be as flexible, as reflexive as possible, and, you know, really build out what our community wants. And, you know, not really having this fixed vision or like fixed paper of what Sovana is supposed to be like. I think the real strength in what we have is our flexibility. So this is our Sovanians. Shout out to Roth, amazing art. They're really funky. So we have over 110 different traits, NFT traits, and each Sovanian will be randomly generated when you mint them. Each trait will have different rarities, and you know, all the 50% of the proceeds will be deposited into the guild. And this is a diagram. So 50% of it will be used to really create the Sovana platform and to really stretch that money and, you know, build out what the community wants. And then 50% of the other 50% of the proceeds will be into the Sovana guild, where, you know, we'll be using it to purchase play to earn assets. And really part of the Sovana proceeds, like part of the revenue from Sovana, part of the revenue from the Sovana NFT exchange will be deposited back into, partially deposited back into the Sovana guild. And at the end will be either airdropping ships, or, you know, we'll be voting on DAOs on the DAO and like how best to give back to the Sovanian NFT holders. Yeah, this is the whole ecosystem overview. So we have the Sovanian NFT mint here, which will go into the Sovana guild. The treasury is what is the DAO who controls the guild and decides on the decisions of the guild funds. And whatever we build on Sovana from the Sovana social platform, the NFT exchanges right now, and maybe in the future, you know, the star bases, and if we do further NFT sales or expansion of Sovana, royalties will trickle down back into the guild, which Sovanian NFT holders will benefit from. And then part of the proceeds from the guild will also be used to get play to earn assets, which also, one thing I missed out and I didn't mention before was that, you know, through this guild, we'll be creating jobs for people, and we'll be educating and onboarding non-crypto natives to participate and really utilize our ships to, you know, as scholars, to play and actually make a living with our ships. And, you know, we've seen how many lives got changed by Axie Infinity, and we would really love that to happen. And for Sovana as well, we really want to create this guild where, you know, we can actually impact lives and change lives and really give back and at the same time growing the whole crypto community as a whole, and getting more people educated on, you know, decentralization, Web 3.0, and what's possible for them in this metaverse. And we'll be creating jobs that, you know, we've never seen before. And this is the power of Web3, and this is the power of, you know, the metaverse.
No, I definitely agree with that, because I think what we've seen in this space, you know, for years now is where, as we alluded to earlier, that top-down approach where it's always those that are running the projects, building the projects, raising a huge amount of money are the ones that take the lion's share, right? But here actually now it's circumventing this whole notion of how this, you know, how this whole market works, and really going to the whole true form of blockchain, right? This whole decentralized nature, and really empowering, educating and essentially build an economy where you're actually hiring people, right? People that maybe in certain situations or geographical locations where it's extremely difficult to be able to get a job, and you're empowering them and they're finding work. And it's just taking this whole notion to another level, which also then begs the question where this will literally be disconnected to any price points or agnostic to any price points of when everyone's just looking at what is the current market price, right? In terms of Bitcoin or Ethereum from a macro view, where even though irrespective of what happens with the market, the DAO concept, the whole NFT concept, what you're building is really a true market in itself, right? And I think it's absolutely phenomenal in terms of it. The question I have is, as we morph into this new virtual metaverse, environment, I clearly see what's happening now. There will be so many DAOs and so many various metaverses. The question is how would the interoperability aspect, right? And I think this is going to be a real interesting conversation in the next few quarters of how to be able to connect these various DAOs within the Solana ecosystem, DAOs within other various ecosystems, where it's existing holder, right, of an NFT within one, a DAO within one metaverse can essentially connect a composability aspect and really communicate, and maybe even have an opportunity that they can be able to bring on friends and people from that ecosystem over to another metaverse, and then vice versa. How do you see this playing out? And is this something in the back of your mind?
Yeah, for sure. I really believe that all future businesses will be, or majority of future businesses will be DAOs. And
Right.
Hi, can people just hello? Can everyone just mute their audio, please? Bit of noise in the background. Sorry about that. Thug, fire away.
All good. Thanks, guys. Yeah. So I believe in the future where we see every NFT, every asset, every digital asset can just be moved around and be used in different ways. For example, on Sovana, we even meddle with an idea of like bringing XE infinities, like XEs, into our platform, like because there are a lot of like XEs or that are not really useful in the play to earn kind of aspect, but we could just turn them into cute little pets and give them a whole different stat in our game, and really emphasizing on that composability of digital assets. And yeah, on top of that, in terms of DAOs, I envision Sovana to be owned by DAOs in the end. So I envision it to have a council of DAOs that will own Sovana. So the first DAO are the Sovanians. But what happens if CryptoPunks really like our platform and want to be a part of Sovana? They can then buy into our Sovana guild and own part of Sovana and start governing Sovana together with our DAO.
No, most definitely. No, definitely phenomenal vision just in terms of, how things will work in the future. Absolutely fantastic. If there are any questions here, because wow, time flies when you're having fun, nearly top of the hour. If there are any questions here, please just write in the chat and then we can answer. And there's only a couple of minutes here. Face Pro, could you please just mute your audio because we're just hearing some sound there, please. Yeah, is there anything else that we haven't really touched on, Thug, that is really important to really let the community, people that are on here, people that will watch the recording know about your project, about the community, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, I think we've covered a lot of things today. And, one thing I really want to touch on is that we are still in a very, very early stage of Sovana, and we would want to invite all of you guys to come on and be as active as possible in our community and really try and buy into our vision.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I really appreciate it. So basically, if there are any points, I will be adding the Discord link in the chat afterwards. Also, there's going to be a recording that will be on YouTube, so you can be able to go through that there. And also any other links. This community is absolutely amazing. I've been, with the community literally from the start. And I can just see so much value happening. So do not be afraid. Everyone's ready to be available to talk and discuss and anything. Really love this whole space. So I really appreciate that, Thug, for your time. And yeah, we'll definitely be in touch.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ken. And thank you for the ID Labs community. You guys are doing an amazing work for the community. And yeah, thank you for making the time.
Great. Thanks very much, everyone. Have a nice rest of the day. Take care.